Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, let's discuss about the state management in a Next.js application using Redux. So as part of this, first we will create a to-do page where we can create the to-do and we'll dispatch this particular to-do to Redux storage, and in the other we'll create one more page where we can display the to-dos, and in this display page we will get the to-do from the Redux store and display it. Okay, as part of this, it won't even refresh the screen since we are creating a to-do and pushing it to store, and the store is available to all the childrens of this particular application. So we no need to refresh to display this to-dos list on the to-do viewer page. Okay, now let's look at how we can write the code for this. I just created a blank Next.js application. It is a plain Next.js application that I have, and so also in this video I'm using Next.js library, which is the shardcn, so for our components. So this is the website, and I'll share the link as well. Okay, and as a first step I need to include Redux toolkit as well as React Redux and Redux persist. So I'm adding these three to my project. So this is the first step. Okay, once I have this, so the second step is within the src folder. Okay, within the src folder I'm going to create a folder called Redux. Okay, within this Redux folder I'm going to start with I just want to use an interface. Okay, within this interface, since I want to create an application called to do, so I want to create an interface to get hold of this to do data. So for that reason I'm creating a to dos, and I'm going to add a to do state to hold the var data, and I'll create one more interface. Okay, called to do, and within this I'll have a to do name which is of string, and the description, so it is a string, and the person who created this to do, I'll have a username, and I'll have a created timestamp at what time the user is created this particular to do. I'll name it as a string parameter, and along with this I'll add an ID. Okay, so this is my interface. Okay, so the second step is, so right now I have an interface, so I'll start by creating a store for this to do. Okay, so for this, within the Redux folder I'm creating a stores folder. Okay, within this store, okay, I'm creating a to do slice. Usually Redux is a big piece of state management tool where it will have slices of each type of data. So right now, since it is to do, I'm creating a to do slice. Okay, so within this, to start by initializing the state. So initial state of the to do object will be empty. So within this it will have a, okay, let me just import this. Okay, within this it will have a to do state. Okay, it will be of array. Okay, so because we'll create multiple to dos, so for that reason I'm Will create multiple to-dos and push everything into this to-dos. So for that reason, I'm creating a to-do state, initial state as empty array. Okay, username and created it and the ID. Okay, this is my initial state of the to-dos. Okay, along with this, I need to create a slice. So I'm creating a to-do slice and it will be from create slice. Okay, so for this one, there'll be a name. I'll just name this to-dos. I'll name it as a to-dos and I'll add the initial state of this and I'll add the reducers for this specific to-dos list. Okay, so, when we call within the reducers, I'll set the state. Set to-dos state and it will get the state as one parameter. Other one is action. Okay, it should be this, and this action will be of the payload action, and this payload will be of to do object. Okay, so I'll just import this to do, import the payload action, and within this, once I get the new payload, I'll attach this to to-dos. I'll push it to to-dos list. Okay, and the action dot payload. So I simply created initial state of the to do. It will be of empty array, and I'm creating a reducer and setting the initial state to this reducer. Okay, so this will be of a to do slice. Okay, and along with this we need to export. So we need to export these two. So the set to do state equal to do slice dot actions, and we need to export the to-dos reducer. So the to-dos reducer will be of reducer. Okay, so now we created a initial to-do reducer. Let's create the actual main store. Okay, so within the Redux folder, we'll create a file called store. So this will be the global store, and we'll merge the to-dos reducer into this. Okay, so it will have a store object and we'll have a configure store, and within this we'll include the reducer, and the reducer name would be to-dos reducer. Okay, and along with this, this particular middleware code is almost common across any sort of application. Okay, get default middleware, So the default middleware. So get default middleware. We'll say serializable check, because we don't need to serialize. Okay. Along with this, we need to export the root state. See the type of store dot get store. So this is almost similar to any application where we are using this Redux. Okay, dispatch, the type of store dot dispatch. Okay, this will be same across different applications. Any applications where we are using reducer. So the only piece is this here. Okay, now we need to dispatch the app. Okay, so here export app dispatch. So the use dispatch of app dispatch use app dispatch. Okay. Now the other one is app selector. App selector within here. Type use select. So this is the global store, and within this we included the to-dos reducer. Okay, this is important. Okay, so now the Redux store point of view we are done. Now let's go to the UI portion and start implementing. Okay, in the UI side I'm going to create a file. So I'll create a to-do in this class, in this file. So that's why I named it as create to-do. So within this, so without wasting the time, I'm just copy pasting the form. Okay, let's keep this form. This is to create the to-do. Okay, within this, the major thing is, so we need to first get hold of the dispatch from Redux. Okay, this dispatch should be of app dispatch. Okay, create the to-do. We need to dispatch that particular to-do using this dispatch. Okay, so right now let me just create a form. Set, so the use state of this will be of to-do. Okay, within this we'll initialize the form empty properties and to do name and the description and username. So this will be the initial data. We are setting it to the form and ID is empty. Okay, this will be the initial form. When we load the page, we want to set this. Okay, let me just push it. Okay, now we have the form, initial form. Okay, within this we created a plain form, right? Okay, well, when we submit this particular form, okay, we'll handle here. We'll get a to do as part of this form, and this will be of, I think, function. So if you see in this form, I added to do name, one text box, description, text area, username to hold, and submit. There is no ID. Okay, and right now there is no timestamp also created it. Okay, we will set the timestamp here. Okay, so when we submit here, we'll take this to do and we'll set the created timestamp. It will be of new date dot to local string, and we'll take the US time. So we'll pass the time zone of America by New York. Okay, this will set the created timestamp. Once we have everything ready, okay, we'll dispatch this data and we'll call the set to do state and push this data to Redux. Okay, this is how we can push it. Now, since we already pushed it, this is a new record, so we will simply set this form to default values again. Like we'll clear the form. Okay, we are clearing the form here. Okay, now we have the form ready to create the to do. Okay, before this, since when we created it, we are dispatching it to Redux side, we are dispatching it here, but to access it in any other place or to get hold of that, we need to include the global Redux provider in this particular page.ts. So for that, let's create one more file called Redux provider, or we can call it anything. Okay, tsx. Within this, it will be the same code across different applications. So that's why I'm just copy pasting this code, and it will be the root Redux provider, and it will pass this store to the all of the children's. Okay, and this root that we are going to use it in the page.tsx. Okay, the way we are going to use it here is to use it. Okay, I need to use Redux provider. Okay, so this is how we can use the Redux provider. Let's check how this is looking. So now we have a form to create the record, and when we create it, when we click update, okay, it will create the to do here, and once we create the to do, we are dispatching it to the Redux. Now it will be pushed to the Redux. Now what we will do is, once we get it, we need to display this. So for that reason, so I'll create one more tsx file calling to do display or to do viewer, I'll call it. Okay, this is a tsx file. Within this, copy this page tsx here. Let me remove this. I'll call it as to do viewer. Okay, now within this, first thing, to display the data, I need to first get the data from the Redux. Okay, so for that I'm using use app dispatch of state. We'll get the state when we push it to Redux from here. When we dispatch, it is pushed it to Redux, and now it will be available here if we get hold of the state. Okay, here state dot todos dot to do state. Okay, use dispatch. Okay, now this is not going to be the dispatch, this will be of selector. Okay, the dispatch will be where we are pushing it to the store. So now we have the data. Now it's time to display. So to save some time, now I'm copy pasting this code, which is simply getting this list of to-dos and iterating it and printing it. Okay, so there is nothing. It is straightforward piece of any React application where if we want to iterate and display the data. So this is how we will do. To-do store will have a list of records that are pushed to the store from here. Okay, and now I'm able to iterate here. Okay, now let me just check. Okay, this is one place. Okay, right now we have this create to do. Let me just add the to do viewer as well here to display. So now you can see, so we have this to do creator and we are displaying the list of to dos here. Okay, now let's test this. Okay, I'm creating a walking to do. Walking is good for health and walk daily minimum of 5 miles. Okay, and I'm saying Shiva. Okay, I'm creating it. Now if you see, okay, I created this to do and clicked update. Right away this to do list is updated with whatever I created. Okay, so the way it is working, let me just reduce this to okay. Now if you see, without even reloading, right now when I click update, okay, let me just change this update to create instead. Okay, So what I'm doing, I have a form, and when I click submit, create, so it will go to on submit and it will hit handle form submit. Within the form submit, I'm setting the create a timestamp, and I'm dispatching this to do record calling set to do state, okay, method. When we go inside, okay, this is coming from to do slice, okay. Within this to do slice, so when we, if you say set to do state, when we call this method, just let me just keep it side by side. Okay, I'm calling set to do state and passing the to do. So I'm calling this particular method. Okay, when I call this one, I'll get the state. Once I get the state, I'll get the payload, because whatever I post, it will be part of the payload. Okay, the action dot payload, it will get this particular to do that I created, and I'm pushing it to do state. So this will be, since this is array, I'm pushing into it. Okay, the initial one will be empty, and now when I create it, I'm setting it to the store, so it is pushed to the to do state. Okay, this is the first step. Now when I go to do viewer, what I am doing, I am going to use app selector, okay, to get the state. Once I get the state, I'm getting all the to dos of to do state. So this will be list. How this is coming, let's check here. Within this, the app selector, from here we are dispatching it. The use app dispatch we use to dispatch, that means to send the data to store. Use app selector to get the data from store. Okay, that's how it will work. Okay, so right now we are using this use app selector. Okay, so this particular app selector is called part of the root state. Okay, within this root state, what we have a state of to dos. So it has a to dos reducer. Okay, that's how it will work. And now when we, let's go back. Okay, so since we already have this use app selector and it has a state, okay, that is pushed from to do create, and now we have this list here, and I'm displaying this content here. I'm simply iterating and printing it. Okay, now this is how it is working. So now I'll create one more. Okay, so I'll say read books for to gain knowledge. Okay, I'll add this. Now if you see, there is one more created. So the way I'm creating it here and pushing it to Redux store, and in this particular page I'm reading it from the store and displaying it here. Okay, this is how it will work, the Redux with Next.js. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll share this Bitbucket code, as well as I'll share my blog URL as well. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you. See you in the next video.